We actually did, though, get a bearish U-turn here. But if we keep an eye on the market and we're waiting for the market to turn around, and actually drop that down on the 15 again. Look at that. Swing low, starting to turn positive. So now we would actually turn this list around. So we're going to go to the other side. So that's kind of a really cool live analysis of how to go from longer-term daily chart, wanting to be long coming into the day, looking for a short sale only because the momentum was down at that moment in weak stocks. That's the key. Only looking to short weak stocks. But now we could be turning around, so now we actually turn the list to the positive side to see how some of those stocks are turning around. So it's going to be actually really cool to see, did we see price action correctly from both this bottoming tail, trading below the open, but certainly this swing low here. Again, a swing low is where you have a low and two higher lows on each side, which shows that price pushed down, and then the next time frame it could not, and we're actually starting to push. So I'm going to start to go into some of these bullish stocks and look at that. I mean, this is actually a perfect trade scenario for what we're talking about here. And actually, there's a trend line above here, so we got to take a look at that. But what I want you to do is pay attention to what we have right here. This is the opening price in CVX. So when the market turns around, you want to go first to these stocks that are above the open and positive. And you can see this right here is an inside candle above the open with the market turning positive. This is actually an entry signal. So 116.80 to 117.50 went up. So that's a 70-cent move before the market turned around. So if the market catches a bid and starts to take off, and we'll see at 11 o'clock when the market does, this is going to be a really fantastic opportunity. But what's interesting is if we zoom out a little bit here, we actually have a resistance level up here. So let's see what that looks like on the daily chart to see if we actually have an overhead profit target. And oh my gosh, look at that. That is the power of knowing your multiple time frames. That's the power of being a real trader. So long term, and obviously long in our in a short-term trader's perspective, it could be 5 weeks. We're talking about August downtrend, but we're gapping higher, bullish relative strength compared to the market, but overhead resistance. So we actually have to watch. This is actually a really big lesson for active traders in the real world, never mind in the battle stocks world. There's definitely good trades to be made, relative strength, relative weak compared to the market. And right now you can't see me talking with my hands, which is actually pretty funny. But this is one of those situations where a lot of traders really get flummoxed, or they don't understand why they didn't make more money. And it really comes down to not every trade is the same. And this is definitely a short-term long based on relative strength intraday, but long-term short heading into resistance. So you would not be aggressively looking to hold this trade. You would be more of a cash flow trade looking at the resistance level. So if we drop this down again to the 15-minute chart, definitely has relative strength to the market, but pushing up into this 117.60, 117.70 resistance, which again is not really a bad trade. That's $1 on a day that the market's pretty mixed just for knowing how to read the charts. That's what's called tape reading. That's what it really means to take your trading to the next level. Still waiting to see if the market catches a bid here. We successfully called this swing low that stopped the push down off of this melted candle. Now, what's interesting is we also need to qualify what that swing low is in perspective to the big picture and in perspective to today's price action. Because between here and here, which is the opening price, this is still a mediocre long, if it's a long at all, because we're below the opening price today. So today's pressure is selling. Until we get above here, you can't have conviction. Longer term, we are definitely trading long, but we're fighting all-time highs. So the upside potential is limited. The downside potential is also limited. So what that means as an active trader is we would only be taking short-term cash flow type trades. That's really the biggest part of this position.